Hello, our dear viewers, and welcome to a new edition of our program Africa Today. I'm Mahisti Rabia. Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry said that Cairo is important to move forward to face the climate change and addressing the international commitments through tangible projects. Shoukry, the appointed president of the 27th round of the UN Climate Conference, was speaking at a recorded speech over the Egyptian priorities during the upcoming COP27 conference. The speech was at a roundtable meeting dubbed the Regional African Forum over climate initiatives, financing climate work and sustainable development targets. He said it is important to work on providing needed finance, adding that the current international challenges drew collective moves to back the international agenda in the field of climate change. The Foreign Ministry said the roundtable meeting organized by the Egyptian presidency of the COP27 is in coordination with the UN Economic Committee for Africa in Addis Ababa. It said it comes within the framework of the preparations to host the conference in the Red Sea resort of Sharm el-Sheikh in November. Africa has been losing 5% of the GDP per capita due to the climate change. The statement was made by the African Development Bank, referring to difficulties which the Black continent encounters, such as opportunities for innovation. More details in the following story.
The AFDB's African Economic Outlook 2022 was hosted by the Atlantic Council. It shed light on the highest priority attention that Africa deserves to attract during the United Nations Climate Conference COP27 to be held in November 2022. During the event, African Development Bank's AFDB acting chief economist and vice president Kevin Oramah said Africa has been losing 5% to 15% of GDP per capita due to climate change. The 27th session of the Conference of the Parties COP27 to UNFCCC will be held from 6 to 18 November 2022 in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt. Oramah said, quote, "As we prepare for COP27, honoring the 2009 $100 billion yearly climate finance commitment that high-income countries promised to developing countries will help to restore confidence that we are serious about climate change, even though it is not enough." End quote. A team from the African Development Bank Group, led by Oramah, is in Washington, D.C. to present the African Economic Outlook 2022, a flagship publication of the bank to international thought leaders and other targeted bodies. The AFDB's report came under the theme Supporting Climate Resilience and a Just Energy Transition in Africa. This year's report highlights climate change as a growing threat to lives and livelihoods in Africa.
To shed more light on the preparations ahead of the COP27 conference, we are very much delighted to be joined over the phone by Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Ambassador Bayoumi, good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon to you. How are you?
How are you, sir? Ambassador Bayoumi, how should Africa list its priorities for the upcoming COP27 conference?
It is not an easy task, by the way. It is very difficult. Why? Because those who are doing bad to our weather are the most progressive countries of the industrialized world, namely United States and China. They are polluting our earth, and unfortunately we are enjoying together the same weather. So it is a very difficult task to convince those industries to accept more costs, because if you want to abide to the measures to a good weather and good environment, it costs you a little bit more. So how we can come to a solution, an agreement among all the countries of the world in order to respect all the measurements to keep our world quite clean and the weather as much better than we were. And to prepare for this, we are making a sort of hearing sessions in order to listen to all the parties. Because even those who do not agree with our point of view, can tell us what do they think, what are their points of view. Maybe after a long discussion, we can come to a solution which will suit all the parties. But it is a difficult task, and I am quite sure that the Egyptian diplomacy is the best in the whole world to carry on such question. And let us wait and see until November. We hope all the best, because all of us will benefit from any success of such a conference in Egypt.
Indeed. Ambassador Bayoumi, Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry said that it is important to move forward to face the climate change and address the international commitments through the tangible projects. What projects here could serve that purpose?
We want all the industries to keep and maintain policies which make our environment less heat, because the heat of the world is more than we can accept.
Yes.
This makes the ice in the North Pole and the South Pole melt, and it makes, if you come to the North Coast, where I am now looking, you will see that the shore is becoming less and less. The water is becoming higher, and this is not healthy at all.
Yes.
And it will threat our delta, it will threat our land, and Egypt is not the only country which will suffer from this.
Indeed.
So if we can agree about make the temperature of the world 1.5 degrees less, this is by itself a good progress.
Yes, indeed.
And we are doing our best in order to convince all the parties to come to this solution.
Yes. Also, Foreign Minister Shoukry said that it is important to work on providing the needed finances to Africa. How can such finances be provided, Mr. Ambassador?
Africa in a very amazing situation, even Egypt. And always I said to our partners in Europe and America that if you give us some financial assistance, Egypt is buying from Europe 100 times much more than they give us as economic assistance.
Yeah.
And we buy from the United States 60 times as much as they help us. So in Africa in general, Africa is the flow of money from Africa to America and Europe and to China is much more than Africa receives from those countries, because Africa is paying its debts, it's paying its invoice of imports much more than it receives as investment or as the result of Africa exports.
Yeah.
This is a situation which is unfair, and we have to ask to change this situation for the sake of the African countries and the African people.
Indeed. Sir, Cairo and the African Union are actually seeking to develop a unified vision for energy transformation. What objectives here can unify the African countries in this regard?
This comes sort of a slogan we always talk about. God will help those who are helping themselves.
Yes.
So we are asking Europe and the Americas and China, Japan to help us, but we have to start to help ourselves by raising the cooperation among the African countries and to find solutions among us. And Egypt succeeded to convince Europe and China and Japan to invest in Africa with the Egyptian experience. This is a good step, and we have to continue doing this until we succeed to attract more finance to Africa, and then everybody will benefit from this. And I think we are on the right track, but it needs a lot of efforts in order to complete this task successfully.
Yes, indeed. Analysts are saying that hopes are pinned on the COP27 to turn the climate-related pledges into action in order to move to green energy. How do you see the prospects here, Mr. Ambassador, for taking tangible steps at the meeting?
let us cross our fingers and hope that this will be a real successful conference in Sharm el-Sheikh next November, because this is a very important task for Egypt and the Egyptian diplomacy to prove that we are up to the task.
Yes.
Like always, the Egyptian diplomacy is one of the oldest diplomacy in the world, and I think we can make all the necessary preparations in order to get the best results. If Egypt cannot do this, not a single country can do it.
Yes.
We have a very good face all over the world. We are acceptable everywhere. I must always repeat that Cairo is hosting the highest number of foreign embassies in Cairo. This means that we have very good relations with everybody, and I expect this will lead us to good results in Sharm el-Sheikh.
Yes. Also, the Foreign Ministry said that Cairo wants to ensure that there is no backtracking on the past commitments to slow the pace of the climate change. How can this be guaranteed, Mr. Ambassador?
Here we face also a difficult task.
Yes.
Because in this international meetings, everybody would declare what he will be committed to. But you don't have on the international level any organization which have the power to tell this country or that country that you didn't make reality to your commitments.
Yes.
So it's a matter of negotiations, convincing, exchange benefits from country and countries, and so on. So this is the only solution, and the dialogue must continue in order to reach whatever results we are aiming at.
Yes. Also, under the Paris deal, developed nations agreed to provide about $100 billion annually by 2020, but have fallen short by billions of dollars with the new target to reach the sum by 2023. How do we explain that, Mr. Ambassador?
It is one of the tasks ahead of us.
Yes.
And we are in very good position to consult our partners, whether in the developed countries or in the developing countries, in order to come with a good position of a mediator. Egypt is playing the role of a good mediator. And then the success will be that if you can reach and choose one solution which fits everybody, which is very difficult, by the way. But if you come to convince everybody that he can participate and to share the good results of the conference, then you are on the right track. But what we call in negotiations a zero-sum game, it doesn't work. If any country would think that he can get 100% and give us 0%, this doesn't work.
Indeed.
So it is one of the main and benefits of good negotiations, and I think we are up to the task, and we shall continue trying our best, and as much as we give of our efforts, this will result whatever we are seeking for.
Yes. Also, the Foreign Ministry says that Cairo wants COP27 to agree on further increased sums transferred after 2025. How do you expect participants to address this aim, Mr. Ambassador?
I think we are in a good position to convince our developed partners, to convince them that as much as they give finance, they will have and benefit of the results, because it is the whole world which all of us is living in. Any good result will be benefited by every single individual on the earth. So I hope that with the help of the international monetary organizations, such as the World Bank and IMF and other organizations, they are really doing some good effort in order to finance whatever we are in need of. But it's not enough.
Yes.
And we have to double this effort until we reach a reasonable solution for this problem of finance.
Hope so. Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Always a pleasure to listen to your precious input, sir. Thank you very much for being with us. And Algerian President Abdelmajid Tebboune has suggested that his country, Africa's largest natural gas exporter, could join the BRICS economic group. That includes Russia and China. Tebboun's comment comes after Russian President Vladimir Putin in June called on the BRICS leaders to move forward formation of a truly multipolar system of intergovernment relations. More details with Samah al-Sharif.
Algerian President Abdelmajid Tebboune said the BRICS interest Algeria as an alternative to traditional power centers. He was speaking in a televised interview late Sunday, saying they constitute an economic and political force. He underlined that there was no need to get ahead of things, but promised good news. Russian President Vladimir Putin in June called on BRICS leaders to move towards formation of a truly multipolar system of intergovernment relations. The BRICS group also includes the major emerging economies of Brazil, India and South Africa. The Algerian president added that his North African country meets a good part of the economic criteria for joining the bloc. BRICS members currently account for nearly a quarter of the world's gross domestic product. Tebboune participated in a BRICS virtual summit at the end of June when Putin called on leaders of the group to cooperate in the face of selfish actions from the West. Sanctions over Ukraine have pushed Putin to seek new markets and strengthen ties with countries in Africa and Asia. Algiers abstained when the UN General Assembly overwhelmingly passed a resolution in March demanding Russia immediately withdraw from Ukraine. China, India and South Africa also abstained. On a visit to Algeria in May, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said trade between his country and Algeria had reached $3 billion last year.
Sudan has detected its first monkeypox case. This came after the WHO last month declared the disease a public health emergency of international concern. More details follow.
Sudan's health ministry announced registering the first confirmed case of monkeypox in a 16-year-old student in West Darfur state in Sudan. Montasser Othman, who is director of epidemic control, said there had been around 38 other suspected cases, but all had tested negative for the virus. An investigation was underway by the federal and state health ministries to determine the source of the infection. The impoverished Northeast African nation is especially vulnerable given its poor public health services. According to UN Children's Agency UNICEF, only 70% of the 45 million strong population have access to a health facility within 30 minutes travel of their home in Sudan, where 13 of 18 states suffered outbreaks of vector-borne disease in 2021. Last month, the WHO declared the outbreak a public health emergency of international concern, the highest alarm it can sound.
Well, with that, our dear viewers, we come to the end of our program Africa Today. Till tomorrow with another crew. It's goodbye. Many thanks for watching.